Sup aspiring journalists. Welcome to Teh Daily Neko. News you can meowsly trust. Straight from the kitten's paw. Today I has a short story which may be good or bad depending on whether or not you're a journalist. Lol. So today we'll head over to the safe for work kind of BBC, to this article. Microsoft will replace journalists with robots. Written May 30th 2020, presumably by a robot cause there's no name attached to this article. Monkey ass. Microsoft is to replace dozens of contract journalists on its MSN website and use automated systems to select news stories, US and UK media report. The curating of stories from news organizations and selection of headlines and pictures for the MSN site is currently done by journalists. Artificial intelligence will perform these news production tasks, sources told the Seattle Times. Microsoft said it was part of an evaluation of its business. The U.S. tech giant said in a statement, "Like all companies, we evaluate our business on a regular basis. This can result in increased investment in some places and, from time to time, redeployment in others. These decisions are not the result of the current pandemic." Microsoft, like some other tech companies, pays news organizations to use their content on its website. But it employs journalists to decide which stories to display and how they are presented. Around 50 contract news producers will lose their jobs at the end of June, the Seattle Times reports, but a team of full-time journalists will remain. "It's demoralizing to think machines can replace us, but there you go," one of those facing redundancy told the paper. Some sacked journalists warned that artificial intelligence may not be fully familiar with strict editorial guidelines, and could end up letting through inappropriate stories. One journalist quoted in the paper said, "I spend all my time reading about how automation and AI is going to take all our jobs, now it's taken mine." Microsoft is one of many tech companies experimenting with forms of so-called robot journalism to cut costs. Google is also investing in projects to understand how it might work. So as you guys can see, Andrew Yang was right. Is weird though, cause I'd imagine a good enough story would have to be written by a good enough AI to send emails to their sources and make phone calls and put together all the pieces of a story that are required of factual, accurate reporting. So I imagine that the kind of journalism that will be done by these bots would be similar to a spider, just crawling all over the web to find other corroborating news articles so that MSN can publish their own version of a story. If we go to the linked source, the Seattle Times, their report ends with the following. MSN has undergone a number of changes since its launch as Microsoft Network in 1995. Once a web portal and default internet homepage for millions of personal computers, it offered original content and links to news, weather and sports. In 2013, it rolled back original news content and began cutting employees. By 2014, it launched a redesigned version that partnered with other news sites, paying them to redistribute their content. Today, the news service relies entirely on those partnerships with no original news content of its own. Curating stories rather than actually generating them made it easier for MSN to increasingly rely on an automated editing system, though several of the terminated employees expressed skepticism it will work as well with fewer human beings to monitor the technology. So aside from that, I don't have any specific insights as to how a realistic robot journalist would work, if it's not a robot that's just curating which stories to present. Although, to be honest, some news is already done by robots. Just look at me and this robot voice. UwU. Maybe once they're able to craft perfect reporting, the robots will be able to write good novels and new works of art too. I should jump on the train and make the first hentai making AI. Holla holla get dollar. So now bots will be covering the news for us, copy striking our content on YouTube and Twitch, they'll be firing death down onto our enemies from space, and they'll be those canine robots by Boston Dynamics here to enforce the law and take pictures of us for facial recognition and tracking, alongside our phones. Oh, and they'll be driving our trucks, and probably getting stopped and looted by riders who know how to truck sensors work. I hope the self-driving trucks had a protocol to follow for not stopping for riders who block the road. Otherwise we're going to lose all our supply lines across the country. So the spook. Maybe that's even a new line of work for me. Me is to Samart. I can seize the future. And the future reads that, this will be me and my girlfriends. UwU. The say pretty eerie pairing. I don't even care about the games or the characters, as long as it's fun, Yuri. Don't forget to spread positivity and live, laugh, love. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and don't get mobbed by angry, purposeless riders. Suck my dick, faggots.
Let's go! Move!
Yes? March! March! March!
Yes, on the way! On the way!
At your service! Yes? March! Move! Follow
Let's
me!
go!
Your Majesty! March! Ready! Fire! Your Majesty! Follow me! Let's go! Attack! Yes! Follow me! Attack!
At your service! Move! Keep following me!
Yes!
Into the battle!
Follow me!
Hang out from
Ready
your
to the
spear!
battle! Yes! Attack! Quiet!
Hang out from your spear!
Fire at will!
Into the battle! I'm listening! Hang out from your spear!
Let's go! At your bow! You command! Follow me! You command! Me! Ready?
Ready!
You command! Me! Follow me!
I'm listening! Here we go!
I'm
Listening! I'm listening! Let's go!
At your service. Move! Yes? Move!
At your service!